We must have these minerals. You can take them and put them in some water and stir them up and stick in some probes and light a light because they carry electrical charge. What happens when an apple, which is 80% potassium and 20% sodium, gets switched around and you start adding 80% sodium and 20% potassium? You're putting such a sodium load on the body that it invades the cell and goes where it does not belong and sets you up for disease. And the Gerson program addresses this as a leading cause of cancer. It's through sodium poisoning. Read with me on the right. It is a mistake to suppose that muscular strength depends on the use of animal food. The needs of the system can be better supplied and more vigorous health can be enjoyed without its use. The grains with fruits, nuts, and vegetables contain all the nutritive properties necessary to make good blood. These elements are not so well or so fully supplied by a flesh diet. Had the use of flesh been essential to health and strength, animal food would have been included in the diet appointed man in their beginning. Now I dare go to the edge. And I'm going to say something. If I were the devil, and I knew that all the antibiotics and the hormones were added to the cows today, that there's this mad cow disease found in Washington, and I'm getting reports it's been found and suppressed in other areas of the United States, which I personally believe has been here for a while, that when you look at the leukemia, that's in 84% of the herds in the United States, and the bovine immunodeficiency viruses, which is cow AIDS, in 50% of the herds, according to Virgil Holst, who wrote the book, Mad Cows and Milkgate. When you look at the condition of these animals today, why am I eating them? In fact, if I were the devil, I'd set up the Atkins diet. And I'd get people to gorge on animal flesh. I have not had animal flesh in 22 years, and I still have muscle. How does it build? It builds from the plants that build the cow. And it just happens that the potassium levels in the fruits and vegetables are as God ordained it to be. So what's my point? Here's my point. I'm also a minister of the gospel. And the devil is using his attacks on you physically. He's trying to cause a slow deadening in your brain through the information that I've just given you, through saturated fats, through wrong foods, through lack of exercise, through high cholesterol, through aspartame and NutraSweet. That's an excitotoxin that causes lesions in the brain. Everything from diabetes to multiple sclerosis and joint pain. He's introducing in the toxins and the pesticides on the fruits and the vegetables, these inorganic estrogens to kill your brain slowly. And he's introducing the Atkins program to kill your body slowly and to clog up your arteries slowly, because he knows the way that Jesus Christ will remake you is through the delicate nerves of your brain. The brain nerves, which communicate with heaven or with the entire system, are the only medium, if we can show this slide, through which heaven can communicate to man and affect his inmost life. Doesn't the Bible say that you are renewed in the spirit of the mind? In Romans chapter 12, verse 1 and 2, be not conformed to this world, but be transformed through the renewing of the mind. Where does this transformation from sinful to divine-like natures happen? In the mind. Anger, grief, anxiety, depression, fatty foods plugging up the carotid arteries, pesticides, chemicals, aspartame, all these estrogens killing us physically, mentally, Because the devil knows that time is short and the Lord is going to come and he's going to have a people that are renewed in the mind and sealed in their foreheads. It says here, whatever disturbs the circulation of the electric currents in the nervous system lessens the strength of the vital powers, and the result is a deadening of the sensibilities of the mind. And what that's saying, this year I said, I'm not going to hold back. It's time to go deeper. I've done it 10 years, and now I'm really going to tell you the whole thing. As the mind deadens, your ability to perceive spiritual things is impaired. As the mind deadens, your ability to perceive spiritual things deadens. Your body is the temple of the Holy Ghost, which is in you, which you have of God, and you are not your own. For you are bought with a price. Therefore glorify God in your body and in your spirit, which are God's. Whether therefore whatsoever you eat or drink, do all to the glory of God. And Christians will down drugs, they'll down alcohol, they'll down cigarette smoke, but they'll walk around as gluttons, eating every uncouth thing because Jesus Christ said it's sanctified by prayer. No, it says that you can pray over your food, but it's sanctified by the Word. God never ordained the eating of pigs as part of the human diet. And if you just do a little study on the pig and everything it eats, that when you eat him, he becomes part of you. And your cells are made up from what you put into your mouth. A very profound thought. Now we're going to go deeper, one step deeper. And this just came to me day before yesterday. While I was on the ground, while I was in excruciating pain, because my large intestine was responding to the negative emotions and the pain and stress of my mind, God gave me a profound thought. He said, I needed to get you on the floor to hear me. Humble thyself, Danny, and listen. Sickness of the mind prevails everywhere. 9/10 of the diseases from which men suffer have their foundation here. And this is what he gave me. Do heart attacks and strokes have their origin in the mind? I couldn't think that deep before. But this is what he showed me. Look at the blockage in that artery. You see it? It says they strike out of the blue, insidious and deadly, killing brain cells and destroying life. A very profound biblical thought. Jesus said, whosoever is angry with his brother is in danger of the judgment. To be angry with your brother, Jack, I'm in danger of eternal loss. It also says, whosoever looks at a woman to lust after or lust for her has already, you get that word, committed adultery with her in his heart. So I don't even have to do the physical act. And I'm guilty in the sight of God because I'm harboring the thought in the mind. You follow me? So sin originates in the mind. In fact, the outward act is merely an extension of the inward decision. True? The outward act merely reflects and activates the inward attitude. Sin is first and above all else an act of the higher powers of the mind, the reason, and the power of choice. Because if you look at a woman and lust in your heart, you've already committed adultery with her, whether you even put your hands on her or not. It's a heavy thought, isn't it? Jesus said all this while they were accusing him of destroying his commandments. Should we blame the heart and brain because they went bad? Should we blame the arteries because they got clogged up? Or should we blame ourselves for the choices we make in regards to the appetite and the desires that originate in the mind? The desires for the artery-clogging food led to the stroke. Thus, it had its origin in the mind.